Welcome along to the Racing Weekly podcast previewing day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival. Gold Cup day, and as tradition demands, Pat Cooney, we start with the Triumph Hurdle. Talk to me about Blood Destiny against Lossiemouth, against the horse that defeated Lossiemouth last time, Guillaume Marceau.
Yeah, and of course, don't forget, on the Friday, we'll be enhancing the prices of a horse in all of the 7 races. And at 10 o'clock, it'll be a super boost as well. So we're wondering what one we'll pick in the Triumph Hurdle, really. And I suppose the headache here is Paul Townend. What's he going to ride? And he could easily get it wrong, couldn't he? I mean, Lossiemouth was a dreadfully unlucky loser last time out, behind the third favourite Garlemore. So the money has been for Blood Destiny in the recent 10 days or so. And I think if Paul ends up picking Blood Destiny, that will go off favourite. It's just, you could see Comfort Zone running well and finishing 4th. And the rest of them really just don't count, really. I think it's just, I can't really fancy Garlemore. So I know she won well enough last time out, but she isn't as good as Lossiemouth, in my opinion. I think whatever Paul picks will ride. My reservation with Blood Destiny, I didn't think he jumped that well last time out, but it is Willie Mullins. I'm sure they'll probably rectify that. I'll go with whatever Paul Townend rides.
Okay. What do you think Paul Townend will ride, Johnny?
It's a very tough one. Andy Holding is all over Blood Destiny on the figures, which is interesting because when he made his debut in Cork, they were saying the word that day, Willie had 2 short price favourites. He said this horse he works okay, and he was brilliant. I wouldn't necessarily agree with Pat. I think he jumps quite well. And the interesting thing about this is usually the British used to win the Triumph Hurdle and be an ex-flat horse these are 3 national hunt breds. So all these Irish horses now are sort of bought in France or just come through a different sort of route. I don't like the revolving camera. So at Leopardstown the last day, it was hard to know what happened with Lossiemouth, but it didn't look a great ride by Paul Townend in a small field race. She got unlucky, but she's been brilliant so far. I probably think he's going to ride her without knowing him that well, but I still would make her favourite. I wouldn't have a strong view in the race. I think Pat might be price boosting Lossiemouth on the day because I think there are reasons you can take her on. I know Milton Bradley had correlated him a grand, was it each way on the scriptwriter and
Owen Harris.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Owen
anyway.
Bradley.
Milton Bradley, rather. Sorry, and they
Owen Harris.
Milton Harris.
Milton Harris. Yeah. What did I say?
Milton
Bradley.
Milton Bradley.
He's a good 5 furlong sprinter.
Yeah. For good old Milton Bradley. He got a grand on it 16-1 each way apparently before the run behind.
I didn't realise that still happened.
Yeah, apparently he asked Simon Clare, and Simon Clare, I can't do that myself anymore, but he mate got it on from a grand each way at 16, so maybe that run was too bad to be true. He's a very good horse scriptwriter, but Willie Mullins has 3 horses that have like 95% of the betting here.
Yes.
And the rest, they could finish 1, 2, 3.
What would you ride, Nick?
Lossiemouth, I wouldn't even think about it. In fairness, I don't think it was a bad ride from Paul Townend. He followed the pacemaker. It come back very quickly. He was hostage to fortune. It was just very unlucky.
What about the fact that Willie thought he was a bit hard on her in the closing stages?
I think Paul thought he was going to get there. Trainer jockey chat, that happens.
Would it piss you off if a trainer went public on national TV and called out a ride? Because I was surprised at that.
Someone of Paul Townend's nature, I don't think it would affect him in the slightest. He might well agree with it, but at the time you make a decision and you have to stick with what you do. And I still think I don't think it'll affect the horse in the long run, personally.
Have you ever been called out by a trainer, we'll say to a journalist after race rather than him or her saying it to you?
People love abusing me, yeah.
There we go. Wasn't expecting that response.
What about the trainers?
Sam, that brings us to you.
Yeah, I think if I was Paul Townend, I'd be thrown under the bus for that. I'd have been digging out the person who declared Jourdemouth a 400-1 poke for the race myself. To be honest, I thought he was a bit unlucky, really, the way the race transpired. It's a Grade 1 as well. He's on a horse that's favourite for a Triumph Hurdle. You're going to try and win the race, aren't you? Very easy to see from the stands, as we all do as armchair jockeys. I like the other one, though, I've got to be honest. I'm a big fan of Blood Destiny. The form took a nice boost as well, with Joseph's coming over and winning at Kempton, Nusret. And I just think he's looked a very professional horse. And I think the fact that they haven't run him would be a fairly decent tip for me, because I just think that they think he's got A1. The Beau Zenith form's taken a bit of a boost as well from France. I just think he's pretty much my idea of a winner.
Okay.
Don't forget, Vauban didn't jump great either going into this race last year, and he still won pulling the cart.
Easily. Pat, we're going to pick up the pace, keep it snappy on the county hurdle market.
Filey Bay is the favourite. Last time we saw this fellow, he was a very good second at Newbury behind Nick's winning ride. And he's on pace to be a well-back favourite once again. Now, he went up £8 for getting beat, but he was 11 lengths clear of the third. So if you take Nick's horse out the equation, you'd be going, well, that's fair enough. So he's sure to be a well-back favourite. I spoke to Lorna Fowler, who trains Colonel Mustard up at Kelso, when that finished second on Saturday. And she's still very much part of the plan to run in the county hurdle this race. And he was third in the race a year ago, so he'll have his each way backers. Again, we're bound to be 5 or 6 places on the race. But, this is all about Filey Bay in terms of the market, and rightly so.
What do you think, Sam?
Hopefully it's Colonel Mustard in the winner's enclosure with a trophy. I'd probably go with him each way. It's very difficult to try and appraise a race when Willie's got everything at the top of the market.
Okay. What do you like here, Johnny? And go on.
I think the man to ask here is how strong that form was, the Auckland race. I think this horse is probably leniently treated. They obviously, 2V went different ways, 2 very, very genuine horses, and that was a question with Filey Bay, what would we find? Because he hadn't come off the bridle in his 2 starts. Brilliant purchase by Paul Byrne. He didn't pay much money for this horse, I know, when he bought him. I want to know what that race felt like, because I think that's strong form.
Yeah, it was fast, but the ground won't be as fast at Cheltenham, which will probably play into...
Won't be as fast?
I don't think so, no. The ground was very fast at Newbury that day, and we were on different sides of the tracks. We were 10 lengths clear of the third. It was a big performance, and...
Why do you end up going one way and he end up going the other? Like, was it a difference of opinion, or...?
I'm a leader, not a follower. No.
So many double entendres tonight, I can't keep up. It's strange when that happens, because it's like, and then when you're watching, you can't tell who's in front.
No, I always felt I was in front. When I looked to my right, he was coming, but it was one of the, when Newbury's on quick ground, it's very different to Cheltenham. It's flat, it's fast. We're clocking 35, 37 miles per hour up the home straight. They won't be doing that at Cheltenham. The ground will be a lot slower. It's undulating, and there's a hill to climb. So it's going to be different circumstances come Cheltenham.
Okay. Did you make a decision on that, or you just have?
I like Filey Bay.
You like Filey
I think
Bay,
he's just so unexposed. What is he at? 3 runs. Yeah. I don't think £8 is too harsh. And yeah, he's one of those 3 horses that that has been sold to JP from Paul. And yeah, I still think he's a very, very promising horse. What he'll do over fence is going to be exciting.
Okay. A familiar theme then when we come to the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, when we talk about the horse at the top of the market, Pat.
Well, Corbett's Bay, deja vu this, isn't it?
Corbett's Cross,
Emmett Mullins, now owned by JP McManus. The caveat I would put there, I'd be careful about backing this guy just at the moment, because all his best form is on soft ground, which who knows what it will be on the day. If he does turn up, he's one to pay serious attention to. It's been a relatively quiet betting race. The only help I can really give at the audience is, I know Tom Seagull, in the office you always play guess the price wise horse. If he gets that right, you got a quiet morning. Tom Seagull loves Favori de Champdou, an 8-year-old, and it's made all to win 2 races already. And he dropped it in behind, and he came through, and he won last time out. So if you're a Tom Seagull fan and you want to be ahead of what he's going to go for, I think pretty much on Friday morning you'll open the selection box and you'll see that'll be one of his selections, and it'll go off at half the price. So that's the only edge I can give you on that one.
All right, Nick, you might be on one way here.
Yeah, potentially. I sat on him last week. Obviously, Tom Scudamore was due to ride him. He won on him at Cheltenham last time. He's got Cheltenham form, he's hardy, he'll improve for the step up and trip. He's in great order, he's shown Cheltenham form. He seems to be improving. He's a good 20-1 shot, but one thing you know is he'll handle the track. And they tell me the times were really fast. It was faster than the 2 mile. The last 3 furlongs of his race last time was really impressive. So he has to be respected.
Yeah, Sam will have those times to hand, won't you, Sam?
He's quick. Easy connections to ride for.
Yep.
He's a character, isn't he, Sid?
Yeah. No, he's good. I actually scored Lieutenant Rocco, who's actually entered in the attempts over the cross-country course this morning. He's actually got a couple of outside good chances going to Cheltenham, in fairness.
He's had a good year, hasn't he? Gay Kellaway a part of it as well down there?
I think she helps with the buying and selling, but it's state of the art, new purpose built yard. He's new to the game, but he's spending a lot of money.
Yeah, he always has done, hasn't he? He's always supported racing. Hidden Valley Lake for me. I'm going to stay loyal to him. On better ground, hopefully. Friday will be better ground. He got stuck in the mud at Clonmel, got beat by his stablemate Monty Starr, who's, an embryonic 3-mile chaser, isn't he? I mean, he's a fantastic model. Unfortunately, Hidden Valley Lake cut out his own running that day. Just didn't think the race suited him. And Henry's had horses beaten in this before, beaten in that race at Clonmel before coming on to win here.
What about you, Johnny?
This is a really good race, to be fair. I have a decent record in this race. I like backing horses at good price in it, and I do like Let's Be Clear about it. He was second to American Mike at Down Royal start here. He hadn't won a year and a half, and Gavin has been very sweet in him all year. He's about 20 to 1, I think, Pat, is he? 20 to 1. So I put up him and Corbett's Cross a while ago. The one thing about Corbett's Cross, which Andy Holding said yesterday is quite interesting, was Paul Byrne does not like this race at all. Paul Byrne doesn't own him anymore. JP McManus wants Cheltenham winners, so I think that's I see where Paul is coming from, but I think that may imply that he's going to run in this. But I do like Let's Be Clear about each way. Okay,
I'm going to save the big race for last, if that's all right, and we can spin through some of the others. Not sure how much attention we're going to give to the Hunter Chase, the Mare's Chase, but let's go through that, Pat. Very quickly, the Hunter Chase.
Yeah, the Hunter Chase. The last 8 runnings of the race has been run by 10 and 11-year-olds, and the front 4 in the market are 8, 6, 9, and 8. So, and they're all trained by D.M. Christie, who's a top operator.
I spoke to Barry today. David's actually had a bit of a setback, and I wanted to talk to him, and Barry was almost getting emotional how much he'd love to win this race for this man. He couldn't exaggerate how much talent he had as a trainer, and of course last year they were so close to winning leader of that.
Yeah, Forsley is the well-backed favourite, and of course he brings a high level of form to the table. Popular has been Billaway, of course, last year's winner. That was an amazing performance to win that day. And Secret Investor has been popular for Paul Nicholls. And this, of course, he beat Clanders Oboe once at Newbury 2 years ago. So he has some sort of a chance, albeit an 11-year-old. Not a great betting race, this one, by any means. The Vorsley has been the best backed in the race, though.
Okay. Any of you here, Sam?
Not really, but I can pass on a decent word for Bob & Co, who's joined Harry Derham. He was obviously ex-Paul Nicholls.
Same owner? Still Same David owner, Maxwell?
Maxie's done his wrist, hasn't he?
So who will ride?
Can you just put your hands over your ears, please, Pat? A very prominent rider.
Okay.
A very useful one, and one that wouldn't put you off.
Excellent.
And he might well shorten when it gets announced.
Bob & Co. Okay.
He unseated behind Paul at Bay in the COVID year when he was travelling. He was unlucky, stumbled, and got rid of Sean Bowen. He was 9-2 that day. He's
good info.
14s now.
All right, Johnny.
Yeah, Barry said the favourite. Barry O'Neill said the favourite.
The favourite one. Okay.
Bomb up the hill, Vosley. He reckons he'll ride him. I still think Billaway is a really good each way bet. He's never, I think in all his runs, he's been out of the first 2, maybe twice. He's always been favourite pretty much, and now he's 8, and he's getting a bit older, and he hasn't been overly impressed this year with horse for courses, and he'll find loads of pressure. I think he's a great each way bet.
One here for you, Nick.
Just Billaway. I only watch Cheltenham Fox Hunters, so I don't really watch the other Hunter Chases, and he looks the obvious one.
Okay.
Not the Fox Hunters anymore, of course.
What is it?
Just the Hunter's Chase.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's fine. No one cares.
We'll edit that.
No one really cares, I don't think. But it's another one of those. We've done it for somebody else, haven't we? Anyway, let's move on to the Mare's Chase. Seems like everybody's talking about Allegory de Vassi as a certainty now.
Yeah, well, in the office they're 50-50, our boys. There's probably 2.5 runners, really. You'd have to put Jeremy's Flame in. Her form's okay. It's not that inferior, so she's some sort of... She has had 17 races, just the 5 wins. We're split in the office. Allegory, probably the best in terms of ability, but does jump to the right, that would be fair to say. Well, we're on a left-handed track, so if you're given a length away at every fence or every other fence, it's not going to help you. I think, as things stand at the moment, Allegory's 11 away, Impervious 6-4. I think because of Allegory's jumping to the right, I could see the Impervious connections thinking, I think we'll beat her. So I think Impervious, I think we'll go a favourite, and I think we'll win.
All right, Sam?
Yeah, another JP purchase. He's had the checkbook out this year, hasn't he? I like Impervious. I think she's a really, really grand mare. I think she's got great temperament, good attitude as well. Not that Allegory Devassi hasn't, but that would worry me a little bit, jumping out to the right, which has been quite pronounced.
Okay, Johnny?
Wouldn't it be lovely if both were running in the Turners? You know, that you'd have a proper race, not a sharp price favourite. Because who would be favourite for the Turners? Like if you're getting the weight allowance, but it's let the mares have their mares only race. Like so, it's a good race, but it's probably a 2-horse race. Impervious is a brilliantly efficient jumper. I'd be marginally Allegory Devassi, but this race shouldn't exist.
All right, Nick.
I disagree. It should exist.
We're not in Cheltenham.
Wow, it's good for the pedigree. If you're going to breed it,
Who gives a fuck about the pedigree? It's about Cheltenham races, like.
if you want sensational horses, you need to breed them.
I
Not
don't
a
know.
very holistic view, that is it, Johnny?
Cheltenham shouldn't be 4 days. And who prefers the 3-day festival? Who prefers the 4-day? I'm beaten here anyway.
The youngsters prefer the 4-day.
Yeah. Rishi?
Johnny, I'm with you on these mares races. I said it before. I'll say it again. The mares races shouldn't be part of the championship.
There shouldn't be 1,000, 2,000 guineas.
No, but that in fairness, that's long standing as well. So these were introduced of late,
Yes.
like, and that is more about pedigree because it's flat racing. Pedigrees for this are like pedigrees and
And also, the other thing as well is that the Cheltenham Festival comes at the end of a season where you are going to find the champions. The 2,000 guineas, the 1,000 guineas, the Derby and the Oaks are done by June. When you come to the end of the season, the championship races, the QE2, the Champion Stakes, the Arc, they're big races for all sexes to show who you are. None of this sort of...
give that man a round of applause. Give that man.
Let's have a championship race for everybody, but, you know.
It's a pretty shit round of applause.
Well done, okay.
Absolutely. Alpinista, you know, Boss Rasham beat Halling in the Champion Stakes. Proper racing. Enable, I mean, yeah, you know, what would have happened if Enable was just running in Oaks all the time?
It's a Cheltenham preview.
Yeah, sorry.
Should be unbeaten.
Yeah, well. What race would Corvega had run in?
But this is it. And Quebec, I think, ran once against the boys in 3 miles of Punchdown and won very well.
But after Cheltenham.
Yeah, and I just think, like, Dawn Run lifted the Irish nation at a time we were in economic recession. Everyone was immigrating. We'd very few winners at Cheltenham. If we'd a winner at all in those years, and like I get emotional. I was even born when she ran, but looking back in the video, the mare is going to get up. Like she would have been running in the mare's race.
Yeah,
who cares? Like,
I know.
Would Quevega win the
stayers?
Win the stayers.
Would Quevega win the stairs? Well, I don't know because she didn't run it.
That's it. We never find out because she never ran in it. Let's crack on. The Martin Pipe, Pat.
Yeah, the lucky last. Let's hope we're all in front by this race. This is a market that really is being dictated to by trainer comments because Willie Mullins was asked what his best chance of a handicap winner was, and he mentioned Spanish Harlem. Now, for his sins, he's been a beaten favourite in all 3 runs he's had so far. So quite a surprising horse to find at the top of the market, but it was what Willie said. So what are you going to do? Keep him at 10-1 or shorten him? So we shorten him. The buzz horse, though, seems to be Imagine, on for the John Lennon fans there. It's second to Hunter's Yarn. That might be good looking form, mightn't it, by the time we get to the finale. He has been very well backed. He's been second in his last few races. Definitely money around for him. I could see him as being the high horse of the race and going off favourite. But again, there'll be something lurking down the bottom end of the handicap. Spanish Harlem, beaten Fab in this 3, seems a false favourite to me.
All right. Sam.
I like Cool Survivor a lot. I thought he ran really well at the DRF. He was in a poor track position that day. It was off the front. I thought he finished pretty strongly. He finished on the heels of Sander Clegane, who's been well touted for one of the novice races. I know Gordon's mentioned the other horse, Imagine, quite favourably, but I'd be surprised if they didn't run him. He's, the Jigginstown colours, and he looks as though he's got tailor-made for this race. So, yeah, I'd be all over him, to be honest.
Johnny.
It's interesting. Gallopin Deschamps won this, didn't he?
Yes.
He was sent off, I think, about 15-2 on the day. And I'm just looking, I think he was sent off 100-1 at Punchestown prior to... Yeah, he was sent off... Gallopin Deschamps, prior to winning this race at Leopardstown, was sent off 100-1. And he's hot favourite for the Gold Cup. He hasn't been beaten apart from that
He was busy that day.
In fairness to Willie Mullins, I think he runs his horse honestly. I don't know if he was an improver because he'd pulled up at even.
He ran him over 2, didn't he?
He went
over 2.
It was 2 miles of Leopardstown, yeah, and then he won this race. So what he says about that Spanish Harlem's interesting because I was racing the day he was second at 3-card Bragg, and I definitely got the impression he wasn't in love with the ground that day. So that's actually good enough for me if Willie Mullins says he's his best handicap chance because he likes as much as the BHA is trying to stop him winning handicaps with the new rules, the 4 runs and so on and so forth. That's good enough for me.
And Nick.
We've got a former what was the race called? Traditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle winner just there. He won on Silsol for Paul Nicholls. He sat there quiet. What's it called? Ibistaru.
Ibistaru.
Yeah.
He actually bought me a pint at the end.
And now he's selling houses in London. There he is.
Ibistaru.
How the mighty have fallen.
Or he's gone up in the ladder. What's your tip, Jack?
Oh, fun.
8th year he's running the race, isn't he?
Got brought down last year.
Okay, Langer Dan. Right. Should we do the big one? Should we do the Gold Cup now?
Well, I can say, having been at Kelso on Saturday, I'll just give you a few snippets that I spoke to Sean Bowen, who's riding Noble Yates. He said, they tell me he's fine, we're happy with him. You don't get much out of the stable, but if they say he's fine, I'm happy. I spoke to Dan Skelton of Protectorat. He said to me, I can't believe he's 14-1, you know. He said he should be single figures. It was his fault that he got beat last time out. He said he should have trained him better. He should have won. He should be coming here on the back of 2 runs, 2 wins. He said, I cannot believe he's 14-1.
What price is Noble Yates relative to him?
Noble Yates is 10 and he's 14.
That for me is Irish-British bias, like, because it is. He shouldn't be 14.
So I can imagine Protectorate being shorter. I spoke to Lucinda Russell, Ahoy Seigneur. She would like good ground for the horse. You know, she said he's well. Derek Fox rides him every day. He's happy with it. They had a winner at Kelso. They won the last. She recognises galloping might just be that cut above. But she says if my boy, Ahoy Seigneur, gets into that rhythm, she says you'll know after 4 fences with him. So I don't know how many of us play in running, but if he jumps the first 4 well and he's bowling along and he's enjoying himself, then you might be better off backing him at, say, 6-1 in running than the 16-1 that he is right now.
The last 4 fences in the Cotswold Chase.
Well, there is that, yeah. So, you know, they're all optimistic, really, in essence. Particularly Dan with Protectorat.
Protectorat, yeah.
Yeah, but as for the favourite Galopin de Champ, he's 13-8 at the moment. We're all beginning to feel like we can take him on as bookmakers. We think he's probably something will do us a favour, really. In terms of the each way, there'll be a big enough field, so they're bound to be first 4 places. I know lots of people think Statler is bound to be in the first 4. I wouldn't disagree with that. With the favourite, he's still got to prove he can get this extra 2.5 furlongs. And it's all very well people saying, oh, it took him an age to pull him up after the line. Well, Nick is probably a better judge than me, but you still have to do it under race conditions. And it's just that type of race. You might think there could be like a Lord Windermere type of thing where the favourite, it isn't going to plan. And there's surprising horses still there coming to the last. So it's a fascinating race. I think the bookmakers will continue to go against him at his current price.
It is a mad jumping test, isn't it? Like, what's it like to ride in it?
I tell you, the difference between a handicap and a Gold Cup. The Gold Cup, they go a gallop and they keep building, I rode a horse called Santini in the race last year. Top of the hill, I'm still travelling. By the bottom of the hill, I'm probably 5, 6, 7, 8 lengths. And what a plus tard, is it? Is that what you say? A blue tard. What he did last year was something incredible. I've never seen a racehorse do it. He was like a gazelle running up that hill. Yes, it didn't go much of a gallop, but he put distance between him and Milano that it was sensational. And if he could reproduce anything like that, he is the one to beat. And 6-1's if you said you could get 6-1 on him in next year's Gold Cup, I'm sure anyone in this room would have snapped their hands off. But he's obviously had a disappointing run at Haydock and he hasn't been seen since. So, but if he comes up with anywhere near that form, he's like a gazelle.
Okay. So you would ride A Blue Tard if you had the chance?
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny, who would you ride?
Yeah, he's had 1 run since when, I mean, there were various stories about what happened. I can't put my finger on it. Was it Joel I was talking to at the bar? Is Joel in the house? Yeah, he's making the point that Henry de Bromhead has run 4 horses in Britain this year, and they've all flopped for whatever reason. But the horse at home have been fine. And as Nico says, Nick says, that performance last year.
Wish I was as rich as him.
Nico, is he? Has a few quid, is he?
So.
Yeah. Are you rich? No. I'm doing this preview now. If
Sat next to us. Do you think?
I don't even have socks. If you were to produce the performance last year, that would probably be good enough with it, a 14 length win or whatever it was, the Gold Cup. Galloping de Champs for me, I think you nearly put a line through the performances in behind last year in the novice race, because they all just, I mean, clearly, you know, Henry's horse wasn't at his best. He's been very good this year, but I don't like backing a short price favourite in the Gold Cup because it's such a jump and test. It's bang, bang, bang. And I think, you know, you've definitely described it well there. And he's like 7 or 8 to 1, is he, Pat? If he bounces back, he must have a massive chance. And Henry seems very happy with him.
Sam?
I think conditions are going to have a massive say in where the race goes, if I'm honest. I think if it's genuine good to soft ground, I think Galopin des Champs, fine. Brave Man's Game comes into the equation, a Plutard. I think it nullifies the likes of Statler, perhaps, maybe even Protectorat, who want a little bit more of a test at 3 1/4. I'm surprised Statler's single figures, I've got to be honest. He's slower than a weekend in jail, isn't he? I mean, he just took ages to get going at Leopardstown last time. And Galopin des Champs was virtually in the winner's enclosure by the time he'd finished. So I couldn't really have him. They're very bullish about Brave Man's Game. I think his jumping will keep him in the race to the late stage. Just think he's one of the best.
Nick's just come in and, come in. Whoa, you got to say what you're going to say. Whatever it is, looks juicy.
I think there's going to be...
Last year,
Don't worry for you.
You're not having him?
well, last year he couldn't handle Cheltenham and they wouldn't go back there.
Graham was different last year. He's grown up, matured a bit.
He didn't run last year at Cheltenham. But
If it rains, he might not run.
Yeah, but
Well,
I think Nicholas probably got that wrong on the day as well, did he? Because it was like a lot of rain on decent ground, and it was kind of like by the Thursday it was good to soft again.
but doesn't the champion trainer say that Brave Man's Game is a different horse this year?
Didn't he have ulcers and things like that? They've only just worked out.
You got beaten on big bucks, didn't you?
Yeah. So I think it's an intriguing race. I must admit, I think Protectorat is overpriced. Dan Skelton's a brilliant target trainer.
Yeah.
And I think he probably knew he would try and win the Cotswold Chase, but there was no way that he was going to have him fully revved up for that in January. I think 14 to 1's a very fair bet, and there'll probably be 4 or 5 places available because I think it'll be a healthy field.
Okay.
If Willie trained a King George winner as impressive as that, what price would he be for this?
Yep.
I know one member of the panel isn't a big fan of him, but I like Paul Nicholls. You know.
Whoa.
Jackie's all right, isn't he?
Jack, come on now.
You had a
Jack
few Saturday
Sherwood.
winners for him. Saturday Jack, they called you.
Well,
Jack needs a mic there, actually. Plead for the defence.
He'll be up here in a minute. Take your place.
I'm going to go with I'm going to back the 2 de Bromhead horses. I've already had a little bit on both Manila Indo and Aplutard. Manila Indo's got an outstanding record at Cheltenham. Last year, his prep was not the sort of prep you'd have wanted a horse going into the Cheltenham Gold Cup. This year, he's had that one run, and I know he was getting weight from Statler.
Great race that as well.
It was a terrific race, but also he showed such a good attitude then. And I thought he actually ran well considering the prep last year, and he was just running out of gas. And Aplutard, I'll go exactly what Nick is saying. I think, that performance, I think Timeform say that was one of the 10 best Gold Cup performances they've ever seen.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen a horse go over the line as quick as that.
And he's only had one run. And there's
this is definitely a better Gold Cup now. There's no doubt. Like Manila Indo.
There's 14 lengths to fill in the gap.
But it is a much better race.
Protectorat was in that race and got left behind.
Yeah. So we're all looking for alternatives to favourite. A question from our point of view as compiled: what price would you back the favourite at?
He'd be bigger than 2, wouldn't he?
I mean, you can't answer this, can you? Okay.
But at what point would you say I'd have to back him at that price? Because I'm not backing him at 13.
It's a good question. I'd want 9 to 4 or so, yeah.
9 to 4.
9 to 4 or so, yeah.
I think 9 to 4, 5 to 3. You're entitled to
say
take
that
a
5 to
chance
2.
there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why I think the market will continue to go against him.
All right. Okay.
As good as he is.
Before we wrap it up, just to ask you, what is your best selection of the festival? So just one name. Pat, go.
I'm going to go for the Potemps. Thanks for the help.
People ducking.
Banbridge each way.
Banbridge each
way. In my
way.
race.
In Sam Turner's Novices Chase.
I like that. Cougar in the Fred Winter.
Cougar. You love a cougar?
Yeah, yeah. I
Love it.
Yeah, Cougar man. Cougar man.
Nick?
Not very obvious, but John Bond and the Arkle.
John Bond and the Arkle. Marie's rocking the stairs for me. Well, that is it for our preview of the day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival. Thank you very much to Pat, to Sam, to Johnny, and to Nick. That is it for Racing Weekly, brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. If you've liked what you've heard or seen from us, leave us a kind review on Apple Podcasts or in the comments section on YouTube. Best of luck at Cheltenham.